Hello there. Welcome to another episode of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. If I can speak clearly this evening. And today I'll update you on just the progress I've made, getting a little bit further along in the podcast making thing, and also just a kind of quick recap of something I heard Russell Brunson talk about related to mindset, which I talked more about yesterday. And coincidentally, that just happened to be on the podcast episode I was listening to today. So with that, so again, this is the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel, one man's journey from going to $0 to $1 million, starting a new online business, doing it part-time, because I still have a full-time job, still have a family to take care of, and various other responsibilities in my life as well. So, crazy idea to try to get to $1 million within a year, but I do believe that I can make at least significant progress in getting to that point, if not get there entirely. I set this goal now a little over 2 months ago now, I guess. What is this, December? So, yeah, about 2.5 months, I guess. Early December, so. And as I kind of mentioned on the last podcast, or not, I just did a podcast episode, so I'm got podcast on the brain, but on the last episode of this channel, whatever you call these episodes or whatever, I talked about, just what I found in the past year or two is my beliefs have just changed about what I think is actually possible in this life, and that's what's led me to start to pursue some of these other side activities. And although I'm not in a place financially that I can just wholesale, quit what I'm doing on my regular gig and just try to start doing this full time, I am at least, pushing myself to try to get something up and running, get it launched, birthed into the world, and see if I can get some traction in terms of actually finding the people that I'm called to serve in this whole game. So that is still very much an ongoing process, and again, one that's not fully out there yet. I still have not gone back and finished the sales funnel. And honestly, a comment about this, because I haven't frankly talked about it for a while, and honestly, I haven't looked at it for a while either, because I just got really frustrated when I found I couldn't do some basic things, or at least what I feel were relatively basic things, with my funnel and ClickFunnels 2.0. Now, I think probably I can do them in ClickFunnels 1.0, but I figure I'm just starting in this game. Why do I want to learn ClickFunnels 1.0 when it's basically it's not going to go away per se, but it's defunct. It's not going to be updated or anything. Everything ClickFunnels is doing is shifting to this 2.0 platform. Just launched at the same time. I just got this itch to go and launch this new business. So why don't I just do that? Because they're spilling the beans like, oh my God, ClickFunnels 2.0 is like all the best things of ClickFunnels 1.0 plus more. So that pitch is like, oh my God, I just need to use this thing because it's already amazing. Like, why bother with this old thing? It's old and nasty and dried up and shriveled old peanut or whatever that nobody wants to use anymore. Why would I use that when I could just use the new fancy thing, right? Well, the reason is because the new fancy thing can't do jack shit aside from just set up like a basic website and a basic squeeze pages and stuff like this. And it's got a basic order form, but can't customize any of that. And that's the real frustration, is my order form page. There are things I feel I need to do on it, because I'm the main sale is a subscription-based newsletter. And I've talked about it before, so I won't get into the details. But basically, there's some certain things that I feel are necessary that should be sort of required parameters that a person would have to fill out within that order form that you just can't do, because the order form is like a pre-canned thing. It's just got predefined fields. You can't change the fields. And there's these other workarounds that, customer support people say, oh, you should just do it this way, but it's so janky, and I don't know. I'll have to do it, so I should just do it, but I just don't want to do it. just don't want to do it because this thing is just so stupid. But anyway, it's a minor detail, and again, I've not made a single sale online, so I shouldn't be bitching so much to begin with, because like it doesn't really matter. So whatever. I need to get back to it, but I mean, since I kind of got, I guess, pissed off about that whole thing, I just shifted on to like, okay, well, let's just assume I've got that done and it's launched into the world. You know, what's the next step? Well, the next step is driving traffic there. And so how do I drive traffic to that page? Do I spend a lot of money for advertisements, which then I have to create the advertisement itself, which is a whole other ordeal since I've never made advertisements. Well, let's just assume I can figure that out. Well, then it's still like I got to set up the ads within. I mean, I don't want to pay Mark Zuckerberg any money, but let's just assume I was going to do Facebook ads or something, or YouTube ads, or whatever other platform ads. I would have to figure out how to create those ads, which is actually like not trivial if you really want to specify like who your intended audience is for all that stuff. But in any case, it could obviously be done. Then even once you got the advertisement, if you got the thing set up in your account or whatever, then it's a question of, okay, well, how much money do I want to dump into these things, these advertisements? Which obviously I don't necessarily think you just know how much you should dump into the advertisement at first, because you have like no idea if this thing's going to convert or how well it's going to convert. And in general, the mantra I seem to be hearing from most people is like, oh, advertisements are getting harder and harder. Paid advertisements are getting harder and harder, more expensive to, in terms of your whatever cost per acquisition, CAC. And given that I'm selling a relatively low ticket item, I can't really afford to have like a $30 customer acquisition for the base offer of what they would sign up. Now it is a subscription, so you could say the lifetime value will be higher, but the initial cost is just a $30 whatever introductory package, and then you if you want to continue with the subscription, then you can continue or you can cancel, whatever. But again, since it's something brand new and I can't really afford to just float, massive advertisement costs and, just hope that those people stick around and keep paying their monthly subscription for some period of time before I recoup that money. Like, that's not a very attractive path, at least for me right now, personally, to go down. Well, what's the alternative? The alternative is doing something more organically. So again, this is what's driving me to launch a podcast. The podcast will be also recorded via video and put up on the YouTube, so I can start building a channel around the PhD Boss company brand. And then, of course, use that content to start to build up content on the various social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I guess, and wherever else I wanted to start pushing stuff out, so I can at least, try to at least get some level of organic traffic. But I'm not, of course, not expecting, you're not going to start that whole thing from day one and ultimately, just start getting leads, driving it, piling into your funnel, because nobody knows who you are. They're not just going to randomly find you on whatever, some Google search, but at least it's a starting point, and you got to start somewhere. And the more content you can build up, is only going to help you more in the long run. So that seems pretty important, that I should just start that now. Recognize, I'm not going to make money immediately by doing that approach, but again, trying to keep in mind the whole mindset that we overestimate what we believe we can do in a year, but we greatly underestimate what we believe we can do in 10 years or any 5 years or some longer time horizon. So if I think about it again in that context, meaning that like in 10 years, so I'm 40 years old now. In 10 years, I'll be 50. My kids will obviously be 10 years older, but that means they'll still be in school because I got pretty young kids right now. They would be in, I don't know, middle school or maybe early high school. Middle school, I think. So in 10 years, they would still be in school. So like, whatever, they'll still be around. I guess that's the point. And like, there's no reason I couldn't be a multimillionaire in 10 years. And multi meaning like, whatever, 10 million or something in that ballpark. Like, I mean, 10 years is actually like a lot of time. So, I mean, frankly, I get it. That number probably sounds crazy to, if you're like me and you're just average Joe making, even if you have a good income, I consider myself to have a good income, but I have lots of expenses for various things, family related, but, in any case, whatever, I don't know what I was going to say there, but, yeah. So anyway, trying to keep that in mind. And so I need to start this podcast now because I know it's going to suck. This first mini episodes are going to suck terribly. Probably nobody's going to listen to it for like a year, and that's okay. But even if nobody listens to it for a year, but in a year, people start to learn about it, start to listen to it. And by that time, a year into it, after I've done, whatever, 50 or 100 episodes or something, like I'll probably actually be pretty good at it, whatever it ends up becoming. Because again, I don't think in a year it will exactly be what I envision it in my head as being today. So I'm not going to know what it could be unless I just start doing it. I mean, it sounds like kind of stupid, but that's just, I guess, the obvious things or the things we tend to avoid trying to do, and that's why we don't make much progress in life a lot of times, because we don't do the obvious boring shit. So, again, I'm not perfect in that regard by any means. I'm trying to shift my mindset along those ways. Along those lines, one of the podcasts I listened to today, I mean, still Russell Brunson Marketing Secrets podcast. It was a replay of an interview he did with somebody on their podcast, and a lot of the stuff he talked about was, things I've heard many times before. The last question they asked him, which again, I've probably heard before, but maybe again, it didn't really click in past episodes just because that's not what I was thinking about at the time, really. The last question they asked him was, hey, so, what's your like number one piece of advice for, new entrepreneurs, new people trying to get into this game? Like, what do you think is the biggest key to your success? And what would you say people, again, that are getting started really have to focus on? And he basically said it's a mindset problem, that if you do not truly believe that you can be successful in doing this whole game, whatever it specifically is, but just say broadly, generically speaking, if you do not believe you can be successful as a small business owner, whether that's online, offline, doesn't matter. If you don't believe you can be successful at it, then 99% of the chance you will not be successful at it. Like even if you kind of just have some doubts, you're skeptical about it, like you're probably just not going to be successful. You probably just shouldn't even get started. So the number one key, though, is that if you like truly legit believe that you can do this, and you do everything you can to cast out any skepticism that you might have about the opportunity you're pursuing, then you will at least have a much higher probability of actually achieving the success that you're looking for. And I know it sounds like so stupid. I mean, at least for me, being a very logical, rational person and someone who is still like new to this whole, you got to like change your internal beliefs sort of thing. But again, I would say a lot of my internal beliefs have been broken over the past 2-ish or so years, just through other things that have gone on in my life unrelated to starting a business, but things that have happened like financially, where I just have to recognize that, holy shit, like I had thought about this problem this way for, decades of my life. And then all of a sudden I get some new piece of information over here. And all of a sudden I realize that this way of thinking about that problem is actually like totally wrong. Maybe it's not totally wrong, but it's just, I was only like looking at one half of the equation or something along those lines. So now you bring in this new information and you're like, oh my God, like this, now that I have this other half of the equation, like now I really can see how I can, achieve much higher levels of success. And so I think it's interesting, again, Russell Brunson, a guy who's running $1 billion company, and it's not just him, it's a lot of other folks as well that, really harp on this idea and this concept that, truly believing that you can accomplish this goal that you have set out. And again, this doesn't even have to be a business specific thing, but if you're trying to lose weight, you truly don't believe that you can lose the weight, that you are capable of losing that weight, then you will not lose the weight, like, period. That's frankly the problem I have, is like, I've tried to lose weight multiple times, and the bottom line is I just don't. I might know conceptually what I know it will take for me to lose the weight, but either A, I just recognize I'm too lazy or too tired or too whatever, that I'm just not going to put in the effort required. Or number two, I feel even when I've tried to do that for some period of time, but maybe not seeing the results I'm getting, then I start to get the sort of seeds of doubt in my head of like, man, like, I feel like I've been doing this, for 3 days, or longer than that, but whatever. Like I should be seeing some results, and I'm not seeing the results. And once you start getting those doubts in your head about it, then it's not long after that you're just kind of like, fuck this, I'm not going to do this shit anymore, because whatever, it takes more time out of my day, and I got better things to do. And so again, the same rings true about starting a new business or just wanting to reach some next level of success in your career, whatever that is. That if you don't really believe that you can get there, then you're probably not going to get there. You probably shouldn't even try, because you're just going to waste a bunch of time trying to do it. Just like the weight loss thing. Like once I kind of decided, like, yeah, I don't really think I can do this, I just dropped that shit, because I'm not going to keep wasting more time and just like, whatever, go through a bunch of motions of trying to eat right a little bit, but I know I'm going to like sneak an extra 1,000 calories over here, drinking a milkshake or something. So I guess, you just got to be real and honest with yourself, I guess, is the bottom line. So anyway, I thought I'd share that today. I did record another episode of the PhD Secrets podcast that I mentioned earlier, which will be the first episode, which again, I kind of sucked at, but whatever. I tried to write myself a few notes to sort of follow along of some high-level things that I wanted to hit on, with it being the first episode and all, trying to explain a little bit about what the podcast is all about, etc. And went a bit long on that one. It's like closer to 30 minutes. Also realized now why people need massive hard drives, because, man, I recorded two videos that I've talked about in the past, and they were like 3 gigabytes each or something, gigabyte files each, so 6 gigabytes for one episode. Like, holy shit, that's a lot. And then, when I'd be editing those 2 videos down to a single video, so that single video will probably be another 3 megabyte file, or 3 gigabyte file rather. So it's like every episode, total file space on my computer would be like 10 gigabytes, which I only have like a 256 gig hard drive, because I've never done this kind of thing before, recording a bunch of videos and audio and all that stuff. So I do have an external hard drive, but I guess I'll have to use it now more often. Anyway, that's where we're at today. It's super late at night once again, and I have to get up early for some more BS at work. So that'll be my day tomorrow. Hope you're all doing well. Keep on kicking some real ass, taking names, and I'll see you next time. Peace.